The question is, are large denominations less likely to be spent than small denominations? So in our data, we've looked at 46 subjects that were given a $1 bill and 43 subjects that were given 4 quarters. And we looked at how many would spend the money that they were given. So 12 of those given the dollar spent the dollar, and 27 of those that were given quarters spent the quarters. So we're going to test our hypothesis to see if it really is less likely that people will spend the larger denomination than the smaller denomination. So we set up a hypothesis test. Here we have the null hypothesis that the proportion that spend the large denomination is equal to the proportion that spend the smaller denominations. And our alternative that we're going to try to prove is that the proportion of those that spend the larger denominations is actually less than the proportion that spend the smaller denomination. So what I'm going to do is show you how to use the calculator to do the computations. So if we press Stat and arrow over to Test, we're doing a 2 proportion z-test. So I will arrow down and choose option 6, 2 proportion z-test. Now we want to enter the data. For the first group, we want to enter the X and the N, the number that spent the money and the number observed, the sample size for that group. And then for the second group, we'll do the same. And so our alternative hypothesis would be that P1 is less than P2. So we make that choice on the calculator. And then we will calculate. And if you'll notice, our alternative hypothesis is restated P1 less than P2 with a z value, a z statistic of negative 3.487, which rounds to negative 3.49. All right, it gives us the proportion in group 1 that spent the money and proportion in group 2 that spent the money. And then P hat here is like the common proportion across both groups. The p-value says 2.439, but notice e to the negative 4. So this is really, the decimal moved over 4 places. So this is 0.0002, which is our p-value. So in this manner, we've used the calculator to make the calculations. Now, since the p-value is very small, less than 0.05 typically, this is strong evidence that the proportion of those that spend the larger denominations is less than the proportion of those that spend the smaller denominations. So I hope this has helped you see how easy it is to use the TI calculator to do the calculations for this hypothesis test.